Okay, yeah, we got to talk about something that happened at the so-called BAFTA awards. Somebody was screaming and hollering the N-word and they're fighting on Twitter about it. Okay, so let me explain. Let me explain. It happened yesterday in the height of the celebration for the American domination of the sport we now own, which is hockey. And also there was like a huge, basically almost like a civil war type of situation breaking out in Mexico as well. So here we are, the United States. Normally we are causing all the drama. Normally we are the drama. Okay. But yesterday a lot was going on. Canada was, ruining their reputation. I thought Canadians were supposed to be the nice ones. Okay. Like I thought really the only main difference between Americans and Canadians, like culturally, was in general, broad strokes, they were a lot nicer and more kind of like what we might call passive aggressive. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I saw Canadians wishing death on people yesterday over a hockey game. I saw Canadians wishing horrible, terrible things out, things unspeakable. I can't even say to happen to our children in the United States. Y'all, it was a hockey game, please. Please, it was a hockey game. Oh my God. Okay, so reputation ruined. They ruined y'all's reputation over there. Shout out to the Canadian cousins. But there was something else happened. There was something else real serious happened. And then I saw people arguing about it on Twitter. And I'm gonna take a little bit of an unpopular opinion. So, I'm getting ready for y'all to hit the unsubscribe, but you can do that. This is my channel. Let's read the TMZ article on it. And then I'm going to show y'all some clips, but I'm not going to show the uncensored one. I just think it's a little bit too much. Okay. But you can find the clip if you would like. So let's read the TMZ article. This came out yesterday. Michael B. Jordan. He's a very famous actor. You might remember him from such cinematic masterpieces as The Black Panther. Okay. And Delroy Lindo, apologies, I don't know off the top of my head what anything he was in or whatever, but apparently he's a really big actor as well. So shout out to him. Here's the title: Tourette's activist shouts inward. Yes, inward during BAFTA telecast. Now, the way they put this is like as if it was like live streamed immediately to the public. That's not true. Okay. It's a pre-recorded. It was a pre-recorded telecast. So that's going to be important to my analysis. Let me turn it on the reader view. Okay. During Black History Month, happy Black History Month, Tourette syndrome activist John Davidson was heard shouting the N-word. And y'all, it was a hard R as well. It was hard R. Pretty much at Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. Okay, it's pretty much at them. He pretty much shouted it at them. They were up there presenting an award, and they themselves are, very distinguished actors. Michael B. Jordan and Delroy's professionalism kept the show going without too much of a hiccup. The two just calmly continued. This is very important. They calmly continued. Okay, they calmly continued. Now, interestingly, the N-word is getting, the most discussion or whatever, which I can totally understand why. It's a very, very horrendously offensive word. It's one of those fighting words. You just don't, especially in the United States of America, you do not use that word, in especially toward and directed at a Black person at all. I mean, look, there's levels to this. Me personally, I don't ever use that word. I never say it. However, there's some people that'll argue, there's levels to it. Sometimes if you're saying it in a song, sometimes if you're this, that, the other, whatever the case may be. Some people think Black folks should be allowed to say it because, reclamation. I don't really want to get into any of that. Okay. I don't want to get into any of that because I feel like all of that is a little bit more within the middle where there could possibly be a gray area. Again, for me personally, I don't say that word. I don't like people to say it around me. That being said, we're not talking about anything like a gray area, in my opinion. We're going to get into it, but everyone's kind of paying a lot of attention to this N word, which they should. But that wasn't the only thing he said. He said the B word first. So he's basically calling these two Black men screaming. They're the only ones talking in the room. Okay. It's a silent theater, screaming B word, N word at these two distinguished individuals. And I don't care if they're distinguished or not. I'm just giving you the full context of what happened. Okay. So The two just calmly continued presenting the award for best visual effects to Avatar, Fire and Ash. But we're guessing the mood in the room was pretty, I don't know if this is supposed to be sour. Is this like a UK word? No, this is TMZ. I don't know, maybe it's sour after the shocking outburst, because Alan Cumming, who is the host or was the host of the show, he came out and apologized. He said, quote, "Tourette syndrome is a disability, and the tics you've heard tonight are involuntary, which means the person who has Tourette syndrome has no control over their language. We apologize if you are offended tonight." Okay, so they apologize for your offense. Okay, got it. Davidson, this is the guy who screamed it out, who was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome when he was 25. This part about it, y'all, look. All of a sudden at 25 years old, he starts screaming the N-word out uncontrollably. Is that right? Okay. And this is my question. If somebody's got Tourette syndrome, I do understand this is a real disorder. Okay. I do. I understand it's a real medical condition. And I understand so is like, OCD. There's certain things, people are compelled to do. They just have no control over it. But I'm wondering over there in Russia or Germany, do they have Tourette's that has the N-word? They have N-word Tourette's? Or is it just in the UK and the United States and Canada where they have the N-word Tourette's? I'm just curious. How is it so specific? Listen, I'm not trying to belittle it at all. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I don't even know anybody who has Tourette syndrome. And I can imagine it's a pretty devastating disorder to live with. I'm not trying to minimize that in any way. And this is what people are on Twitter kind of arguing about. They're saying, well, it's a disorder and it's involuntary. So what is he supposed to do? Well, I have some freaking suggestions. I'll tell you that. But let's finish the article. I want to show you a little bit of the clips themselves. Again, I am going to censor the actual word, but you'll be able to see, what the reaction was of Michael B. Jordan and what's his name? Delroy. Okay. So they apologize for anybody offended. All right. So he was diagnosed at 25, and he is the inspiration for one of the movies that was nominated for a BAFTA. He made a number of outbursts throughout the ceremony, including "shut the F up" and "F you" when the directors of ARCO won for Best Children and Family Film. Okay, so we're given the award for the Children and Family Film, and he says, "F you!" and he screams that out. Okay. But the N-bomb is when he reportedly put his own self in timeout. According to Variety, he left the ceremony of his own volition after using the slur. Okay, so he dropped the N-word, and then he decided that was enough for him, and he left. Okay, that's interesting. Here is a video from a guy, Graham, I think, O'Neill. It's 3 minutes long. I'm going to turn it on 1.25 times the speed and just let you get a little bit of a flavor of what went on, because this guy, I think, does a good job of explaining, what happened in general. What is the BAFTAs? What is the BAFTAs? What is going on here? William and Kate were over there. People were talking about them. So let's just get a little bit of an idea of what it is and what happened throughout the night.
An offensive language tonight. As BAFTA Awards host Alan Cumming, about an hour and 20 minutes
rewound it.
You may have heard some strong and offensive language tonight. As BAFTA Awards host Alan Cumming.
First of all, did you see how he was grinning? Do you see how he was grinning? You may like he's rubbing it in or something. Like it's not fun. Nothing's funny about that to me. I don't think it's funny. Now, sometimes people do smile and laugh when they're what's called a nervous laugh. Whenever they're actually afraid, they'll laugh, stuff like that. I mean, maybe that's what's going on with Alan, but he looked a little too giddy to be announcing his apology. Let me show y'all that one more time.
You may have heard some strong and offensive language tonight. As BAFTA Awards host Alan Cumming, about an hour and 20 minutes into the ceremony, after several outbursts were heard throughout the show. If you have seen the film, I swear you will know that film is about the experience of a person with Tourette syndrome. Yeah, the British drama, nominated for 6 awards, is based on the life of John Davidson, who was in attendance.
Tourette's syndrome is a disability.
Oh, it was a white man. I think that's important. That's the guy. That's him.
There's several outbursts were heard throughout the show.
If you've seen the film, I swear you will know that film is about the experience of a person with Tourette's syndrome.
Yeah, the British drama, nominated for 6 awards, is based on...
Okay, so there's a movie. It was nominated for 6 awards. It's apparently a British drama. I twitch, I click, I whistle, I shout. Okay, fine, whatever. But you didn't twitch, click, and whistle at the 2 black men. You called them BN. All right, so that's again, the man who the show is based on. There's a character in the show, but he's based. Look, see, based on the remarkable true story. I swear. You know, like I'm not trying to be dense here. All right. I'm really not. But what if somebody has a medical disorder that makes them shoot people in the head? We gonna be like, oh, we gotta be inclusive of the murderers. No, you put them in freaking jail. If you can't keep yourself from the compulsion of unalive, like sociopathy is a disability. I hate to tell y'all, sociopathy is a disability. It is in the DSM-5. It is a mental disorder. So I understand, OCD and all these things. I mean, most serial killers have some kind of mental disorder. Does that mean we're supposed to put them on the front row of the BAFTAs and just let them do their thing? I'm not trying to be dense. Okay. It's not like the man was sitting there clicking, twitching, or whistling. He was shouting one of the most horribly offensive things that you can shout. And I have reason to believe Michael B. Jordan is a Black American. Let me just make sure. Michael B. Jordan, hometown, California. He was raised in New Jersey. Shout out to New Jersey. That's where I live now. Okay, what about Delroy? Because I understand, culturally, there could be somewhat differences. In the United States of America, you don't say that word. It's like you just don't say it. It's literally considered fighting words for somebody to scream that at a Black American. Okay. And then the fact that Michael B. Jordan had to stand up there. Let me let y'all watch the rest of the clip. Again, when that part comes, I personally, because of my own personal ethics and morals, I'm going to not play it. But let me just... I understand the man has a disability, and I'm really not trying to shame the guy's disability. I'm really not. But what I saw people on Twitter doing, I was like, no, I have got to speak out. I got to use, my platform to speak out in the support of my cousins that are upset, my Black cousins, because I understand why they're upset. I understand why they're upset. They have a right to be, and they're being gaslit on Twitter. Oh, I'm disappointed with the Black people on Twitter because they don't understand. What? Girl, shut up. No, if y'all are upset, cousins, I understand why, and you have a right to be. Don't let these people gaslight you. Okay? No. In my opinion.
Life of John Davidson, who was in attendance.
Tourette's syndrome is a disability.
That was him.
The tics you've heard tonight are involuntary, which means the person who has Tourette's syndrome has no control over
Why is
their
he
language.
smiling like
The
that?
statement came after the film star, Robert Aramayo, won the Rising Star Award.
And tonight, especially, I just want to say that for people living with Tourette's, it's us around them that help define what their experience is. So to quote the film...
Well, girl, now we all having to live with Tourette's because y'all aired it on an international stage. So it's not only the person, quote, living with Tourette's who now has been harmed by it. Now it's thousands, hundreds of thousands, perhaps, dare I say, millions of people. Dare I say millions of people who have now been harmed by it. So, I mean, look, listen, I understand it's probably hard for him to get a job and stuff, but so now you're just going to throw racial slurs out on everybody. And here's the thing, I'm kind of burying the lead. I'll just say it now. This show was not live. Okay. The show was not streamed live. So what that means is they aired this uncensored for us to see. Okay, fine, BBC, if that's what y'all are going to do, but I have it on good authority that somebody else somewhere else on a BBC show said Free Palestine, but they had took that out. Why? Because why? I don't know. I mean, girl, I'm not even trying to get into it. I'm not trying to lose my whole entire anything and everything platform. But like at the same time, it does go to show that they can take things out if they deem it to be offensive to any group of people, if they feel like it. But so, I mean, my question is, why didn't they take that out? They could have even said, beep. Remember whenever Kim Kardashian, everybody was laughing at her and nobody clapped or whatever it was. There was something she had done at the Tom Brady roast and people were laughing at her, making fun of her or something. They took that part out. They took some part out of the Olympic ceremony. With like, there's all kinds of, they take stuff out all the time. This was not streamed live. This is not a live telecast. This was that came out 2 hours later. They didn't put a beep over it. Now here's the so-called star of the movie. He was winning an award. He's like, oh, people living with Tourette's, you got to understand where they're coming from. All I understand is when he got up and excused himself. Because there does come a time whenever, yes, there's disability tolerance, but then there comes a time where you actually are being a jerk. Nobody apologized for this until hours after the fact. And these two men had to stand up there and deliver we didn't even get to that clip yet. I'm aggravated by this.
And they need support and understanding.
So I get the timing of Alan's statement, but it came over an hour after John's first and most jarring outburst.
Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan.
Okay, here it is.
So the center stars came on stage.
I'm gonna be sitting on the mute button.
Effects, and I decided not to censor what was blurted out from the crowd.
I will.
That's the whole purpose of this.
The first BAFTA of the night.
Okay, I muted it. And you see his face, both of their faces, they were like, what in the freaking social experiment hell is this? This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. That's my opinion. And if you don't like it, I don't give a shit. This is not acceptable. Look at their faces, and I don't blame them. And they had to continue on and deliver this award. He just started screaming out F you and B word, N word. And y'all can go look this up yourself. Again, this was not live. My whole analysis would be different if this aired live. Look at this man's face. And I understand. Don't let them gaslight you, uncle. Don't let them gaslight you, cousins. This could have been censored out and they did not. This could have been censored out. TMZ still could have wrote their little thing. They still could have made their little apologies. It seems like this was actually an advertisement for this movie or for this series. Because I didn't even know this Tourette syndrome series even existed. And I do know that people have Tourette's. I know that's a real thing. I do know that's a real thing. And thank God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. Thank you, Allah. And thank you, all of them and everybody. All the one true God. Thank you. That I don't have to live with this disorder. I can imagine that it's very, very difficult. I do have disabilities. I don't talk about it a lot. I have disabilities. I have learning disabilities. I have disabilities. I have physical disabilities. So this isn't coming from some able-bodied, all of that person, y'all. I founded the first affinity group at the University of Pennsylvania Law School for disabled law students. I started it. I founded it. I am a disability rights activist. That's how I got into the Free Britney movement in the first place. It shouldn't be the case that because somebody has a disability, they lose their rights. I am a disability activist. I am disabled multiply. I don't talk about it a lot because I don't want to get put in a home, to be honest. But just because you have a disability doesn't mean that you display the disability live, especially where it hurts people and it's harmful to people. These poor men, they had to sit there and continue on. And that wasn't the only outburst.
There were a few more outbursts heard throughout the ceremony.
In a place which is
so I am going to allow the rest of the slurs and the outbursts to play because he doesn't do that N-word thing anymore. But
we are delighted to be presenting the BAFTA for supporting actor this evening.
Variety reports that John eventually left the ceremony on his own accord. He wasn't asked to leave by BAFTA. Two things to say on this. First, I think they waited way too long for Alan to make a statement about it. Yeah, it was over an hour. That's without commercials.
Okay, I think the rest is his. Let me see.
Delroy on stage on live TV in the award show. You can see that Delroy is a little taken aback by the moment. So while there's all this empathy, asking, I do think the experience of Michael and Delroy was ignored. The fact that they're standing on stage and they hear the N-word blurted out at them, when they're on live TV in the award show. You can see that a little taken aback by the moment. So while there's all this empathy, asking for understanding for John in BAFTA statement or Alan's statement, there seemed to be a real lack of empathy and understanding of what that was just like for Michael and Delroy up on
True.
stage.
I
Agree.
apologise if you were offended.
If you were offended, that's rather dismissive. And yeah, everyone should be offended by the use of that word. I don't think
I'm offended. I'm offended. And so I saw people fighting about this on Twitter yesterday. I saw people fighting about this in the middle of me trying to be the most American I've ever been in my life yesterday. I got my 2 American flags flanking me, but I always have those. I'm on Twitter and there's people with this holier than thou attitude. There's this holier than thou attitude. People are saying that if you don't understand what it's like to live with Tourette's, then you shouldn't be saying. That's what I said. Y'all want to see what I thought? You want to see my tweet? That's what I said. I said, y'all, please be serious. Please be serious. That being shouted hard ER at 2 Black men trying to present an award in a silent theater. Then they aired it uncensored for us to see. It wasn't live. IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, is a disability too. Crohn's disease is a disability too. Should they air people on themselves? And I said it just like being on themselves after the fact as well. Let's say somebody has IBS, somebody has Crohn's disease. They're going up on the stage to present an award. Their nerves, anxiety and nervousness does exacerbate Crohn's and IBS. So what if they just take a huge right there on the stage? And it's 2 hours later when they finally air it to the public. Should they air that? No, it would be humiliating. Actually, it would be humiliating. Because why? Because that person didn't have any control. The person didn't have any control. Yeah, somebody did have to come pick it up. People had to be inconvenienced by it. People were affected by it. I'm sure, if people smelled it, it would cause harm. If people, got it on their clothes or something, it would cause harm. That's a disability too. So should we air that all over the TV? I mean, look, listen, for my own personal reasons, my own personal ethics, I didn't want to air that word on my channel in that, especially that context, because, sometimes I'll be reacting to a video and it's like my cousin Stino or something. And he says N-word, but that's like a different thing. He's not yelling it right after the B word at someone who's trying to present an award. And I just highly doubt that he would do such a thing. So, I mean, there is context of it, but in this context, I don't want to air it on my channel. But here's the thing. If you were to air it on your channel, if you were to publish it on your YouTube channel, you might very well be violating the community guidelines. You might very well have your video demonetized, et cetera, et cetera. And that's because it is offensive. There is no context that you can give it that a white man is screeching that at 2 Black men where it's not offensive, even if it's supposedly involuntary. And I'm starting to get like, at what point is everybody else supposed to just sit idly by and allow abuse to happen? Narcissism is a mental disorder as well. Should we just forgive all the narcissists and let them continue doing no, you have to hold people accountable for their words. And, the same thing about epilepsy. People who have epilepsy, very often, especially if their condition is not managed well with medication, they are not allowed to drive a car. And if they do get behind the wheel of a car, and this is not everybody, this is not every place, everybody has their own individual, medical situations, but like there's some people who have epilepsy who are not allowed legally to drive a car because their symptoms are not managed by medication or they're not under control. And so you get behind the wheel of a car, you have an epileptic episode, a seizure, whatever, and drive into another family and now they're dead. Oh, everybody, you just got to be accepting that people have disabilities. No, you have to take responsibility for your actions. And if you cannot control your actions, whether that be IBS, incontinence, whether that be compulsive screaming N-word. I mean, he eventually removed himself from the theater, but like come on, y'all. This is ridiculous. Just because someone has a disability does not mean that they get to have carte blanche ticket to say anything this is a white man screaming B word, N word at two black men in a silent theater. Okay, first of all. But let's say, fine, he can't help it, poor thing, okay, whatever. Who thought it was a good idea to air that uncensored so that thousands, if not millions, of other people, including black people specifically, could be re-harmed by that? Imagine. And I know a lot of y'all cousins in the chat don't gotta imagine because you are black. Shout out to the black cousins in the chat, because I don't even need to be black to see how this would be offensive. I don't need to be to see how this could be harmful. And then you log on to Twitter and you got people of all races, black, white, Hispanic, people from all over the place. I don't know, Hispanic, Latino, I don't know. You know what I mean? People from all over the place, all these countries telling you that you need to calm down while some white man screaming the N-word over at you at Michael B. Girl, please. No. If you have a disability, you also have the responsibility to mitigate it to the extent possible. Girl, it snowed so much. The snow is falling off my roof. And I'm like, look, I understand Tourette's exists and stuff, but like when it's silent in the room and you know for sure that there's, black people on the stage and you know for sure that one of your little ticks is screaming the N-word with the ER at the end, maybe what's so hard about like, and just so you know, I'm going, I wasn't really saying any words, but I'm just saying like, I'll say, that surprise witness, right? See how easy that could have been? While it's silent in the theater, you didn't take your medicines. You didn't do any mitigation. You're going to scream the N-word. It's possible. You're going to like get up and leave if you do so. You can't just carry your out there. Just at least to try. Just in case. Fine. Then why did it need to be aired without a beep, without a censor? It's not like the Janet Jackson Super Bowl incident. Why? And I truly believe that it's just to F with us and y'all specifically. I think it's just to F with people. I really do. I think that's why they aired it. Now, I'm not saying the man did it on purpose. I'm not even saying he doesn't have a real disability, but a lot of people have disabilities they don't get passes for. When you have a disability, you have the responsibility, civic responsibility. Forget about the law. You have the civic and social responsibility to, when you're going in a public place where that stuff's not acceptable, to try your very best to mitigate it. Just like a little screaming, crying baby can't help it. It's involuntary. What would the mother of the baby do, or the father? Pick the baby up and leave. If the baby's screaming in an award show, if the baby's screaming in a graduation, in church, in a wedding, you let them scream for a couple seconds, minutes, and you got to go. You got to get out of here, because everybody else is here to have a civilized time. And if your disability makes it such that you're screaming horrendously offensive, racist words at Black Americans, you got to stop. You have to get up and leave. So I'm glad he did get up and leave, but there was things he could have done before that. He could have covered his mouth up. I just gave y'all a demonstration. You can cover your damn mouth. He got a disability. He can't cover his mouth. And I don't want to hear it from y'all. Oh, you're insensitive to people with disabilities. Wrong and correct. I am a people with disabilities. I am saying this is unacceptable and inappropriate. Especially the BBC's decision to air that. Because not only now did it harm the two people who were up there doing the award, not only did it harm all of the Black people who were in the audience, which I don't know if there was a lot or a little. I didn't watch that demonic show. But now it's harming people more, because not only people are hearing it, but now, particularly Black people, and I'm going to say specifically Black Americans, because this word has a very, very sinister history in this country. Now all the Black Americans who hear it have are at risk of being harmed by it. Not just hearing it, But seeing people defend the white man that was screaming the word, y'all are not going to play in my face. Look, somebody said it too. Christian said, hello, right, BJ? Let them play in y'all face if y'all want to. Not I. I said, they're not playing in mine, cousin. I see what you see. So I'm just here to just say, if you're offended, I understand why. And if the people on Twitter don't get it, they don't have to get it. They don't have to get it. If you have a disability, you have a responsibility to mitigate that disability. That doesn't mean you're not going to have slip ups. That doesn't mean you're not going to have to sometimes go out into society and oops, some people are going to hear you say your little whatever. But I'm just kind of like starting to wonder, why is it always the N word? It's like always the N word and the F word. Why is it always the N word and the F word? Nobody's ever saying, sunshine, rainbows. I love you. I love you. You're so beautiful. Nobody's Tourette'sing that. It's all N word, B word, F word. Come on, y'all. And you didn't start having symptoms till you was 25? And nobody else got the N word Tourette's except the people in the English speaking countries. I'm not a doctor. But disabilities that come in all shapes and sizes. Some people got a disability where they might see red. PTSD is a disability. You knew that? PTSD. What if somebody's trigger is hearing the N word and they see red and they black out and they beat the ever living dog shit out the person who said it? Whose disability wins then in a civilized society? Huh? What if Michael B. Jordan had a PTSD diagnosis and he came unglued on that stage and came stomped a mud hole in Mr. Tourette's asshole? I mean, I'm wondering. Whose disability wins then? We have to live in civilization, please. Please. If somebody got IBS and shits all over themselves, we going to air that to the public? Somebody has a seizure on the stage, we going to air that to the public? Why is it that this disability got aired to the public instead of censored? Why did Free Palestine get censored and not this? I'm not even saying they shouldn't have. I'm just saying it shows they have the ability to delete, to edit, to censor, and they didn't do it here. And if y'all are living with Tourette syndrome, shout out to you. I'm really sorry. That sucks. It seems like it's really difficult disorder to live with. I'm not trying to say it's not real. But what I am trying to say is just because someone has a disability doesn't mean that they just get to get away with anything and everything all the time. The man, I'm glad he got up and walked out of there because it was pretty sinister that he didn't even try to mitigate that. I won't be watching that show either. That's all I really had for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Neither are opinions. And I'm really not sorry about mine. Love you, Mina K. Bye.